Hey everybody, it's Dak. Today I'm going to be doing a fire giant guide, which is part of our charm collecting series. Keep in mind this video is based on getting simple melee XP while collecting a lot of charms. There's different methods to collect charms and to fight fire giants, but this method is meant for simplicity. The requirements you need for this guide are going to be 68 summoning, you have to have completed the waterfall quest, and I would suggest that you have 35 dungeoneering. Let's get started. First thing is first is what you should be wearing. This setup is very similar to my earlier Abyssal Demon guide. To start off with your helm, the Torva helm is definitely the #1 helm out there, but not everyone can afford it. So if not, you can use Torag's helm, Helm of Needsnot, or what I use is the Berserker helm. Next is the body. Torva body is definitely the best, but if you can't afford that, I use the Bandos chestplate. If you can't afford that one, you can use the Dragon Plate body. Next to the legs, again, the Torva is the most suggested, but very few people can afford it. So I use Bandos Tacets. After that would be Dragon Plate legs or the Dragon Plate skirt. For your amulet, the Amulet of Fury is definitely the best, but it's not too much better than the Amulet of Glory, so if you don't feel like spending the money, then you're going to be alright. I use a Chaotic Longsword. The best weapon to use is probably the Chaotic Rapier, but they're both pretty close. If you don't have either of those, then the Abyssal Vine Whip is definitely the next best thing. If not, you can just use an Abyssal Whip. That'll work too. Offhand slot, the Offhand Rapier or the Offhand Chaotic Longsword. I prefer to switch it up. If I use the regular Rapier, then use the Offhand Longsword, and then the other way around, because that gives you multiple attack styles, which can add up to a lot more damage. If you don't want to use a weapon, you can use the Divine Spirit Shield or a Dragon Defender. Next is the cape. The completionist cape is clearly the best, but there's not a lot of people who have it. Then there's the Tokar Call from the Fight Kiln. If you don't have that, you can use a Trim Skill Cape, a Fire Cape, or an Obsidian Cape. The best gloves to use are Goliath gloves. If you don't have those, you can use the Culinaromancer's gloves, the one from, was it Recipe for Disaster? Just use the best ones you can get from that quest. Next are boots. Steadfast are definitely the best boots, but they're extremely expensive. So then down the list is Dragon boots, Bandos boots, and then Rune boots. For your ring, you want to get an imbued ring probably. An onyx ring would be the best, and then Berserker ring imbued is next. If you don't have them imbued, you can just use a ring of wealth too, maybe get a little more money during the trip. I don't believe the aura is too important, but if you have a combat aura already, like Knockout or one of the prayer ones, then go ahead and use it because that could help you out in lasting longer during your trip. Now let's get to the inventory. The first few items are used just for getting there. You're going to need a Games Necklace, Glariel's Amulet, and a rope to get into the cave. Bone Crusher isn't necessary, but I would suggest it for that little bit of prayer XP. Bring a few food, like I have 4 sharks here, just in case you get into a little trouble. Superset is so that you can get a few more kills an hour. A bunyip pouch for healing. I would use a unicorn because it heals more, but a lot more people can use bunyips than unicorns, so I'll be using a bunyip during this guide. Make sure you have all your abilities ready. Keep the regenerate and the momentum ability on there. Those are very important. And then have a few of them to get your adrenaline bar up. Now let me show you how to get there. First things first, use your games necklace to teleport to the barbarian outpost and then head south towards the waterfall. Once you get to the little raft, go ahead and board it. That raft will crash land you on a little island right in the middle of the river. Then you got to use your rope on a rock that's on another island. That'll get you across to that little piece of land. Then use your rope on the tree on that island, and that'll drop you down right in front of the cave entrance. Make sure before you enter the cave that you attach Glariel's amulet, because if you don't, a little flood will happen, which will wash you away and bring you up on shore, which kind of sucks and will waste a lot of time. I like to go right into the center once I get into the cave because a little further back there's a dungeoneering shortcut which will bring you to a pretty decent amount of fire giants that quite often nobody is at. If you don't have 35 dungeoneering, there's fire giants all over the cave, so you do not need it. Once you get into this cave, go ahead and summon your bunyip and drink a dose of your superset, and then go ahead and start fighting one of the fire giants. Make sure you start using abilities so that you can get your adrenaline bar up. Once you get to 100%, you have a few options of how to fight these. What I like to do is use momentum, which increases your just regular attack by a lot. So then you can almost AFK like the old style of fighting. Another way is to use regenerate to keep healing yourself so that you never really get any damage done to you. You could also just use your threshold or your ultimate abilities to kill the fire giants a lot quicker so that they never even have time to damage you. Clearly, there's a few options to fight these things, but I've always enjoyed the AFK method a little more. That's why I use momentum. Now, when you kill the giants, you clearly want to pick up the charms. That's why you're here is the gold charms, and they also drop the others, just not as common. Then you want to pick up the items that'll make you money. They also can access the rare drop table, so here and there you can get a really good drop, like some noted items like clean torstals or a lot of coal. The items that I believe are worthwhile picking up are the Rune Scimitar, the Rune Two Hand, Rune Square Shield, Rune Battle Axe, Rune Arrows, Nature Runes, Blood Runes, and the Starved Ancient Effigy. Now the effigies are clearly not for money, but it's always nice to get a couple of those in your bank. Thank you for watching the guide, everybody. Be sure to stay tuned for the upcoming videos in the series. Click here for the original charm collecting video. Join the cul-de-sac by subscribing to the channel, comment and like if you want to see more videos, and follow us on Twitter.